Righty-o, we're live. How are we going? We're slightly doing it a different way today, so looking forward to everyone that's joining me. Thanks for joining me. We're in the studio, and I'm looking forward to having a discussion with you. So, hope you're all enjoying your breakfast cereal and your cups of coffee. But what we're going to be discussing today on Hoggs Vlog Live is England still struggling against spin. And the ball doesn't seem to be swinging as much as we would like. So, let's get into Hoggs Vlog. How we going, guys? The third test, day one. Let's go to the first point that I've got for you today. England are struggling against spin. So, what's actually happening here is yesterday they were a lot more defensive. They weren't as attacking as what they were in the first couple of test matches down there in Chennai. They swept less yesterday and they were playing from the crease a lot more. But more, which really worried me most, was that they were getting beaten on the inside edge. So what that means to me is playing from the crease, getting beaten on the inside edge. They weren't getting to the pitch the ball. They weren't covering the spin. And they weren't forcing the bowlers to bowl a little shorter. So both Ashwin and Patel could bowl a little fuller and hit those tough areas where the ball was turning sharply and then going straight naturally. 2 wickets just before lunch was very costly for the England batsmen. They lost Root and Crawley, both playing from the crease. Ashwin coming around the wicket to Root bamboozled him. Root wasn't as aggressive and he wasn't as positive with his footwork. That's where he got caught out. Crowley, he tried to get as far forward as he possibly could, but still he went into that defensive mode just before going to lunch, and that can be a trap for some batsmen. And then the next session, they lost 2 quick wickets in 2 overs. Now these 2 wickets, Pope, I wasn't too fazed about because Ashwin was coming around the wicket. He got as far forward as he possibly could to cover the spin, but it just went straight. And normally when you get beaten on the outside edge like he did, you don't get bowled. So he was very unlucky. He did everything he possibly could, but Stokes again got caught on the crease, beaten on the outside edge, should have come forward, and if he came forward he would have been hit on the front pad outside the line of off stump, and he wouldn't have been out. So England have got to change their approach against the Indian spinners in the second innings. So, second point, swing. It only swung for the first 5 overs in both innings, and I was very impressed with Virat Kohli's captaincy in that first innings. He noticed that Ishant Sharma wasn't getting the movement that they thought they would with the orange ball, so he brought on Patel straight away. He got the breakthrough, but he could also see that there were signs of indifference with the spin. So the odd one was turning and gripping and the odd one was going straight. And that was just natural. It wasn't anything to do with the bowler. So very good from Virat Kohli in that aspect with his captaincy. Now, everyone's talking about England only going in with 1 spinner. If you look at the first test match, Best struggled in the second innings, so they'd be thinking about that, especially with the dew in the late evening session. But also with the pink ball, they would have thought that it was going to move a lot more. And there was a little bit of grass on the pitch as well. That would have excited them. So I thought they went in with the right balance, 4 quicks, if you include Stokes, and the spin. I thought India should have gone with 2 spinners and 3 seamers, but they haven't. But they have read the wicket a lot better than England. But still, I still don't mind England's approach. The only issue that they've got at the moment is Jofra Archer isn't doing his role right. He's still got a slight injury with his elbow and he's lacking pace, and that's hurting England at the moment. I'm very impressed with the way that Jack Leach bowled last night. He slowed it down, or he varied his pace. He was able to slow it down to get the turn, but he was bowling quicker than he normally does, and that was beating the Indian batsman on the inside edge. So he was causing a few issues last night when it wasn't as conducive to spin as what it was in the first session. So let's go to my third point. Is IPL going to make a difference, or IPL experience going to make a difference in this particular game? Well, you've got Axar Patel, Sundar and Ashwin, who have played a lot of IPL cricket. They would have played in a lot of due conditions, and that's going to play a big part with that experience, especially if India get caught out having to bowl in that final session. And that's where I think Sundar might be a handful bowling in those later conditions, because the England batsman will still be playing for that spin, but he's more of a skidder, and that little bit of variety might bamboozle the Indian batsman. He'll come over the wicket and he'll be beating them on the outside edge as the England batsmen are playing for the spin, and he might create those wicket-taking opportunities. But I thought Jack Leach last night adapted well. The only issue right now, today, where is the game going to be won and lost for both England and India? Well, Jack Leach plays a big part, and Rishabh Pant. That duel today is going to be the big contest, because we know that Pant's going to come out and play attacking. If he gets a quick fire 50 or more, India in the box seat to win this game. But if Jack Leach gets him out early and England are able to bowl India out for 150, maybe 170, and then get 150 in front and bowl a couple of overs on the third night with the seam bowling, probably about 10 overs there. Hopefully they get a bit of swing. Then the next day they have Jack Leach to bowl to the Indian batsman on that fourth day. During the day session, that could be a turning point for England. So tomorrow, Jack Leach is important. He's got to make sure that he's focused. He doesn't get overexcited, thinking that he's going to get England back into the game. He's just got to keep nice and patient, keep those areas, keep the change of pace, and make the batsman make the mistake. He's doing the right thing at the moment. So I know there's going to be a few questions here. There might be one or two about the decision. So let's get into the first question. Can we get that up, please? There we go. Ask Hoggy. Hoggy, what is a good score for first innings 300? I think for India right now, I think if they get around about 250 with the way that Jack Leach is bowled last night, and that conditions are going to be conducive for him today, I think if they get around about 250, I think they've batted England out of the game. I can't see them getting 300 at the moment with the way Jack Leach is bowling. But yeah, 250 is the score for me. I can't see India getting 300. If they get 300, well, England have probably lost the series and lost the momentum. So that's a good question there from Mohammed Farhan. Next question, Amit Mishra. How you going, Amit? Good to see you joining me again. Good morning, Hoggy. Namaste. Namaste to everyone there. Do you think Joe Root failed to read the pitch and thereby left one spinner out of the playing 11? I think if it was a day game, they wouldn't have gone in with the three quicks and one spinner with Ben Stokes to bowl. I think, look, with the pink ball, you think the quicks are going to do more damage. If you look in the last Test match, or the pink ball Test matches in general, the fast bowlers generally do all of the damage. For me, it was the batsmen that let them down, not the bowlers. The ball didn't swing. They've got the right combination, I think, England going in this Test match, but I think they should have gone with Wood instead of Archer. Archer's still injured with that elbow. He's not pace that's expected of him. I don't think he bowled a ball over 140 yesterday, from what I can remember on the gun. And you've got Broad and Anderson in there that are bowling around about 130, 135s. You need that extra quick, that extra pace to bowl short, sharp spells, and Archer didn't do it. So it's not Root's reading of the pitch. They just didn't make enough runs, and the bowlers haven't all done their role. Anderson bowled well, Broad bowled well, but Archer's let them down. So good question there, Amit Mishra. All right, next question. Shaban Sakahalaka. How you going, mate? I hope that's Shubham. Let's try and get that word out. Sakalaka. Hopefully I'm getting these names right, because I really hate getting the names wrong. But thanks for joining me. Hope you're having a good breakfast. A lot of people are talking about the stadium colour and floodlights, which makes it difficult to see the pink ball and catching. Do you agree? Well, let's just look at the last couple of instances last night with Pope. I thought Pope nearly took that great catch in close where Rohit Sharma tried to sweep Jack Leach. He moved and got that hand on the ball. He got a good grasp of it, and very unlucky that didn't stick. Lucky for Rohit Sharma. But then that catch out gully, it was definitely off Kohli. Remember, off Kohli, off the pace bowler. I think those red seats out in the deep put him off. It was a sitter. He would take 9.5 out of 10 of those throughout his career. But I just think the seats blurred the ball and made him caused him to drop it. So I think the cameraman or the telecast should be able to give views behind the actual fielder when they drop a catch like that to give us an indication of what it's like in those stands, because then it will give a little bit more leeway for the fielder. So I can't really blame Pope for dropping that catch. He would have had a blurred view of the ball coming out of the seat. So very good observation there, Shubham. Okay, let's go to the next question. Sam Rules. Hello, sir. You were spot on with the pitch. Are we seeing batting standards go down on pitches where bowlers get some purchase? Everyone just blames the conditions and don't improvise. Look, Sam, you're exactly right here. I'll go back to Australian conditions. We, especially out the WACA, we have faster, bouncier conditions here, and every now and then, especially early on the season, the ball seams. But when we're training in that pre-season, we actually have the nets where they're hard and fast, but they've got a bit more grass on them, and they do a lot more. So we're getting used to that, the seam movement, and that's why a lot of overseas players struggle when they come to the fast, bouncier, seaming wickets here in Australia. But when we go to the Indian conditions, we don't adapt because we're not as used to playing on these big turning wickets, and this is what I love about different environments or different facilities provided in each test match. It tests the players' skills. It tests them mentally, tests how they adapt. Joe Root was brilliant in the first two test matches, the way that he adapted, but this test match, he had a more defensive mindset, and that is what caused his downfall. And I think it's the pressure of the World Test Championship as well. They know that if they win this test match, both teams are still a chance of going to that World Test Championship. So that will be weighing a lot on the players as well, and that's probably why they're playing a little bit more conservatively, and that's probably why England went with three quicks and Archer, thinking that their three main bowlers are going to get them through, and when one of them's injured, they're not. So for me, I think the batting standards have gone down, and that's why I think the likes of Kane Williamson, Joe Root, Steve Smith to an extent, Virat Kohli are exceptional batsmen, because they are the batsmen that seem to be able to adjust to all conditions around the world. Very good question, Sam Rules. Love it. All right, let's go to the next question. Have we got one? Yes. Yogi VM, how you going? What's your opinion on Stokes Catch, which is given not out? Yogi, I look at it from all the views and the angles that I looked at, and the way that he put the ball up at the end, he's kind of picked it up like that. There were no fingers underneath the ball, so I think the umpire was right in giving that not out, even though the soft signal was out. But I was disappointed that they didn't have a view from behind with Ben Stokes. They had a view with Jack Leach getting caught by Bajara from behind. They should have had that view with Stokes. So that's the only thing I'm disappointed with the review. They didn't have enough time. They didn't have enough video footage, and I think the broadcaster has to have a look at that. And yeah, the third umpire, the process has to have a look at it as well. Did the third umpire ask for a view from behind? And if he didn't, well, that's when discussions have to be made. Should he be umpiring the next game? Now, Yogi, that's a very good question. I don't think Stokes took the catch from the evidence that I saw. All right, one more question. We'll have a couple more. The Mies TM, Zach Crawley. Where this lad has been a natural stroke maker, expecting him to be a great player for England in the future. To me, I was very surprised that Crawley actually got picked in this test match, especially with the way that he played in Sri Lanka. He seemed to struggle against spin. But when you see a player come out and play with a positive frame of mind that he did, and he handled the spin well, what it tells me is that he's a quick learner. He's prepared diligently for this test match. He's found out where he went wrong in Sri Lanka, so that tells me that he's got a long career ahead of him at international level in Test cricket. So well done to Zach Crawley. You've proved me wrong. You've proved a lot of people wrong. You've taken your opportunity, and that's what we want to see from the youngsters. So brilliant stuff from Zach Crawley. Right, we've got one more question. Yeah, there we go. Star Black. Ask Hoggy. With 13 wickets in day, how long do you think this match will go for? Star Black, I think this match might just go into the morning of the fourth day. If it goes into that first session of the fourth day, England are still in with a big chance of winning this test match. If it just goes to the end of the third day, India have won quite comfortably. So for me, I think it's going to go down to the wire, and we'll finish by the end of the first session on the fourth day. That's my big prediction, and we'll see how the test match goes today and see how England bat under lights. All right, let's get another question up there. Tony Stark, hey Hoggy! What made Rowett so good in the past 5-6 years that that in his hard times also he does not seem very struggling? Look, I was talking to a young grade cricketer just down the road from where I live here. He's got a lot of talent, but his mind gets in the road of success. So he's overthinking the game. So I try to talk to him about watch Rohit Sharma bat in this test series, because what I've seen is if he plays a false shot, it doesn't faze him. He just lets it go away, and then he's just focused on the next ball. And it's everything that you do in life. If something doesn't go right, you've just got to put it in the back of the mind and just focus on what you can do now. Don't try and think about the future, because if you're thinking about the results down the future, you've taken your mind off what's happening now. And I think that's why he has been a successful batsman over the years, is because he's focused on the present. So if you look in the last test match especially, he played a pull shot, I think it was against Ollie Stone. He towed it on the end of the bat. Stone bowled another bouncer, same area, and he went for the pull shot again because he's backing himself to play that shot, and he hit it for 6. That's the mindset you've got to have as a batsman. Don't let and as a bowler as well, don't let the previous ball affect the decision you're going to make in the next piece of play, or the next ball that's coming. Okay, let's go to the next question. Tanmoy Chakraborty, Roll 101, Birdwin Medical College. You could be becoming a doctor. We need plenty of doctors around the world at the moment. Ask Hoggy, was the scars of the second test in the mind of England batters, or is it purely bad application and quality from England? It's just bad application. Really, I won't say the quality of the batting, because I've seen all these batsmen play well against spin. It was just their application and their preparation. I just think when they won the toss, they batted first. They just felt things were going to go their way, and when you think like that, things can fall away very quickly. And losing 2 wickets before lunch and then 2 wickets straight after lunch doesn't help your cause. I think if I look through all the dismissals, Sibley got a good one, caught in the slips off Ishan Sharma, but Ollie Pope, he got beaten on the outside edge. He couldn't do much about that particular delivery, but all the other batsmen, they got themselves out. So it's about the application. So that's a very, very good question, Tamnoy. Have we got another question coming up there from the studio? Any more questions? All right, we've got Pritam Das. Ask Hoggy, Jack Leach bowled magnificently well last night. Seeing him bowling like that, why Root didn't bowl? That is a very good question, Pritam. I couldn't understand why Root didn't give himself a couple of overs just to see if he could do some damage as well. Root is a part-time bowler, and generally when Australia come over and tour India, it's the part-time bowlers that do more damage than your frontline bowlers, because Joe Root undercuts the ball, and I think if he came around the wicket to the right-handers, he could have done what Ashwin was doing in that England's first innings, was getting the ball to go straight on, but every now and then when you undercut it on a wicket like this, it will turn back, and he could have created a couple of LB and bowled opportunities for himself there. But expect Joe Root to bowl early on day 2, or tonight when the game starts. But that's a good observation. Joe Root should have bowled a lot more, Pritam. Okay, I think we've got one more question coming up. Yep. Pranav J. What would be India approach today with Rohit still there? For me, Rohit Sharma's still there. I think his role will be trying to bat as long as he possibly can. He'll be trying to get the triple figures. If he gets 100, that will take a bit of a pressure off Pant, and Pant can come out and play with a lot more freedom and be more aggressive to Leach. He won't have to play a conservative innings. So for me, Rohit Sharma's innings today is very important. He'll just keep going the way that he's been doing it right now. And the good thing about the decision of playing Sundar, yes, they've got another spinning option, but they've got extra batting depth as well. So they've got Sundar, Ashwin and Patel that handle the bat well. So there's plenty more runs that India can make today and really put India on the back foot. And there's a lot of left-handed options as well there, and that's going to put the pressure on Leach as well, because he's not turning the ball away from the bat, he's turning it in, and the left-handed batsmen love the ball coming into the bat, so they can work it on the leg side predominantly. But all the three left-handers that are still to come all love going over that mid-wicket region. So it's game on here. India could be in the box seat. Is there one more question there? Yes, Lokesh Nally. Do you surprised by a selection of Washington Sundar? I was very surprised with the selection of Washington Sundar. I thought going in with 2 spinners would have been enough, especially on this wicket. I think Axar Patel and Ashwin have really got the wood over the English batsmen. I don't think you needed that other option. I just think you could have covered yourself with another swing option. I would have gone with Siraj. We rewarded him for the work that he's done over the last couple of months. And if you got into a situation where you're bowling in that evening game, you would have expected a lot more swing than what England got last night. So before the game started, I was very surprised with Washington Sundar going into the team. I thought that was a very risky decision. So that was the final question. Thanks very much for joining me today. I hope you're having a great breakfast and swallow it down with a nice cup of coffee or a cup of tea. I don't drink coffee. I'm more of a tea drinker. But you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brad Hogg and or Brad_Hogg. You guys make sure you have a good day and get your mates on board, and we'll be live tomorrow morning and discuss the second day's play. Thanks very much for joining me, guys.